Evolution. (1859), Darwin's Origin of the Species. Started a firestorm. Others were dealing and thinking through these thoughts, and of course they were in the Greco-Roman world as well. Others in the philosophers had some of these thoughts. But it really crystallized in Darwin and his theory, The Origin of the Species. And by the way, read the whole title, it's quite shocking. And this idea that somehow, the original idea that all matter condensed down to something like a period, dot, or decimal point on a piece of paper. And in that tight, compressed thing, it blew up a great big bang. It used to be 20 billion years ago. They've moved it to 13.77, not sure really, anyway. 4 billion years ago, the Earth cools. About 3.1 billion years ago, the first life emerges. Shazam! There it is. That's coming back as a movie. For us in the 80s, we're like, no, what's next, Ultraman? Way back for some of you, isn't it? Gee. I mean, some of you have never even heard of Channel 48. Yeah. But the idea that all this matter condensed, blew up, and the Earth cooled down, and through a random set of chance events, essentially you're here. Man evolved. Man is the highest evolved, they claim, of the animal realm. But then somebody started noticing the emperor's new clothes. And they said, wait a second, you guys also gave us thermodynamics, right? And you said matter cannot be created or destroyed, right? Yeah. Okay, so that decimal point, period, size of a dot on a page, where did that matter come from? Of course, their answer is, what does it matter? So they tried another theory. Nothing exploded. You think I'm kidding? I am not kidding. We just went through Genesis 1 through 11. Come on, I got slides. Nothing exploded, and that formed everything. And 4 billion years ago, the Earth cooled and formed. It rained upon the rocks for millions of years, and so therefore you have come from rocks. I'm going to get some angry emails. And to those who email me, do me a favor, read your own note and answer for yourself. If it rains on the Earth for millions of years, it cooled and became rock, and then out of that rain primordial ooze, something happened to bring forth life. There you go, you came from rocks. And that's called science. Observable, testable, repeatable, and apparently we've learned the last 2 years, you can trust it. That's the same science that used to tell us 4 out of 5 doctors smoke cool cigarettes. If you're old enough to remember. But what comes from evolution is one of the so-called races must be more highly evolved. And the race that looks the least like the animal realm must be the most highly evolved. And that spawned a study called eugenics. Huxley and others. Margaret Sanger, if you have never heard the name, she is the founder of Planned Parenthood. She was a big-time eugenicist. And part of the goal of Planned Parenthood was to shape the gene pool. Go look it up. Eugenics is what drove the Nazi regime. There's a master Aryan race. And they thought they were doing the world a favor by getting rid of the less desirable races, which included Gypsy, Roma, and Jews, millions slaughtered. So evolution spawned eugenics, and eugenics spawned genocide. That's the wisdom of the world. And yet as our information improved and as our technologies improved, Watson and Crick identifying DNA, we find out that DNA must be fully formed for it to function properly. You cannot have parts of DNA, you need all of DNA because it has firewalls, error checking, and instructions for replication. It must all be there or it will not work. It's all or none. So you can't evolve it. And they know it. But they can't get away from their theory, because if it wasn't evolution, then in the beginning God. And they just won't go there.